Yo, I think this letter is dead. All right. I got some incense going, but this letter just died. R.I.P. babes. Says Ecuadorian hands. I got this from Garland of Letters in Philadelphia. That store, whew, that was one of the most beautiful spiritual stores I've ever been to. Literally caught my eye. Like it was great. So this is titled Winter Energy, Duality, Polarity, and 2024. So I was talking for 20 minutes trying to record a live, and then my train of thought just disappeared. So I was like, we're gonna try this again. I'm not gonna make this long. This is an effort. This is in an effort to be obedient to my creator. And honestly, I'm gonna try to post every day this week. Real shit. Um, yeah, this is in an effort to be obedient to my creator because as I travel and I go out into the world, I am realizing more and more my role, my path, my mission on this planet in America because my ancestors are not from this country. So the fact that I'm here is truly like a soul mission, you know, and I have to honor that and I have to walk in that. I have to put away my self-limiting beliefs. I have to put away my self-esteem issues, my low self-confidence issues, my issues with being seen and just step into my light. This girl, she messaged me today, Skylar, and she was like, may you walk into your light boldly. So that's what we doing. Hold on, let me sit up right. Now that I just said that, I just activated something within me. Let me walk into my light boldly and do what I'm supposed to do here on this planet boldly. All right. Winter energy, duality, polarity, 2024. Jumping right in. 2024 is going to be honestly miraculous. Is the word that keeps coming to mind. I had a friend who is no longer with us, but he definitely warned me about the energies of 2020 to 2024. If you ever seen Legend of Korra, he basically was like, it's gonna be like Legend of Korra, where I think it's the end of the second or the third season, where the spiritual world and the physical world fully were enmeshed, and that is what we're experiencing here and now. And I think that's why it's really important for me to just be doing this, to step into my role as a projector, as a guide, as a healer, as a teacher, Life Path 7, and truly just, again, be obedient to my creator, honor myself through honoring my creator by helping share what I've learned, what I've experienced over the past like 5 years. I have like 15 notebooks like this filled with information, filled with wisdom, knowledge, journal entries, just things that I've been through, things that I've been studying. So it's very important that I just step into my role here and now. Moving into 2024, I watched the video today, and the woman said in the video it was 2019, and she said that the veil is paper thin. So the if the veil was paper thin in 2019, as we are moving into 2024, I need y'all to know that there basically is no veil. Regardless if you're spiritual or not, regardless if you're on this path or not, because everything's spiritual because spirit just means breath. But regardless if you're like actively on your healing journey, actively like, attending to your mind, body, and spirit, the veil is there's no veil anymore, basically. And I feel like the winter energies definitely highlight that. Winter energy is cold. I mean, it may not be cold everywhere, but as far as America goes, it gets cold pretty much everywhere, or chilly, at least. You're going to need a jacket to walk outside during this time. um and in cold energy creates a freeze response in the body. So this decreases the heart rate, it slows things down, it makes it not harder for us to respond, but we don't have that fire that comes from summertime and spring and the sun being out 24/7 and the air just not being cold. um Excuse me. So it slows things down. It produces some stagnation if you're exercising during this time. And I started exercising a lot more once the weather started to drop, or the temperature started to drop. You can build up your internal heat. You can build up your internal fire so that you can keep moving, because the energy of the planet is always moving. It never really slows down to a halt or to a complete stop, but it is slowing down and giving us time to process, especially like how are we ending this year with a Mercury retrograde. We're literally in a time to process, to review, to revise, to just look back at the entire year, look back at the past couple years and decide what we want to do moving forward. And again, the new year doesn't really start till Aries season, April of 2024. However, you know, there is an energetic shift that takes place because of the belief of the masses of people. And our belief honestly creates our reality. So there is an energetic shift that takes place December 31st to January 1st, and we have to acknowledge that in some way, shape, or form. I mean, we do just by calling it 2024 instead of 2023. So um, with that, I feel like things are slowing down. We're processing, we're reviewing, we're revising, we're getting ready to for this energetic shift that is taking place. And moving into 2024, again, the veil is going to be nothing, paper thin, little to no veil, basically no veil. And so with the spiritual energies merging with the physical realm, what does this mean? Well, because we have taste, touch, the five senses, we are in a human body, right? Because of this, we are third dimensional, right? However, we know that this is not the only dimension, regardless if you believe in all these occult metaphysical concepts or not. The best way I would be able to explain these other dimensions to you, like 3D is when you can hug a person, right? 4D is like when you can feel that somebody needs a hug, or you can feel that they're sad. You can feel the energy that's coming off of a person. So that's basically the different dimensions, in short order, right? That's just 3D to 4D, whatever. But so what's taking place is that these worlds are merging. So regardless if you're spiritual or a metaphysician or not, um, everybody is going to be experiencing everybody's going to be experiencing these other realms. Everybody is going to be seeing things that they've never seen before, feeling things that they've never felt before. Me as a psychic intuitive, it's going to be a walk in the park. No, I'm kidding. Because it's even hard for me sometimes to like see people, because I don't really see humans anymore. When I'm in a denser vibration, I do, like, if I'm using substances or whatever, or I'm just like really not connected to my higher chakras, it's easy for me to see people as see like people when we go to the grocery store, this, that, whatever. But for the most part, when I see people, I see the energy behind them. This is like a great example. When I was working, I worked at a steakhouse earlier this year, and there was a girl there, and I don't know what she was going through, but she was going through a lot. And you can just, for me, I could just see that energy on her. It was heavy, it was dark. I did not talk to her. I worked there for 4 months. I never talked to her. I never talked to her just because I'm a very empathetic person, so I can easily like take on other people's emotions and feelings, their energy. And just whatever she had on her, because of my psychic sight, because of my vision, my gifts, I was able to see that I cannot fully interact with it. I mean, we had like small talk, but really little to none. Like we never held like one full conversation, just short sentences over the 4 months. And I would like avoid her. I would try not to let her touch me and stuff like that because whatever energy that she had on her was just, I knew spiritually and energetically it was too much for me to bear. It's too much for me to just deal with, and I just needed to go to this job, get this check, and get the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? So that's typically how I see people. Like I can go to a grocery store and I could easily recognize when people are going through things. If I hold conversations with people, it's easy for me to tap into their subconscious mind and connect to just whether if they have different energies on them, like attached to them. I can see that. I can feel that. And this is what everybody's going to be experiencing moving forward. It's definitely going to throw a lot of people off, and it's gonna feel uncomfortable for a lot of people because our perception, yeah, our perception or our threshold, like our feeling capacity, is it's like both. It's like it's being raised, but it's also being lowered too. Like you're going to be feeling a lot more, and it's not gonna take anything for you to feel other people, for you to see their energy, etc., etc. And that's why, I mean, you can see the world now, everybody's moving into spirituality and trying to understand astrology and get into metaphysics and stuff like that. And this is just the byproduct of the energy of the planet that is upgrading and ascending. um yeah. So hmm, hmm. Because of this, I feel like it's imperative that we keep up with our protective practices, spiritual routines, protective practices. Like today, I washed all my sheets, vacuum my room. Everybody should do this all the time. But like just consistently making sure that you're keeping your space clear. I washed all my sheets, I vacuumed my room, and after I vacuum, I sprinkle salt around my room and around the door because salt picks up energy. I got crystals, I got my crystals sitting in the windowsill so that they're charging. I use camphor. I started placing camphor around the house because camphor helps to drain energy. So these are spiritual practices that we can all use and embed into our daily lives in order to keep up with the energy shift that's taking place on this planet. It's going to be extremely imperative that we discipline ourselves. No coincidence, Saturn is in Pisces. Saturn rules discipline, Pisces rules spirituality and connecting with other realms. So it's going to be imperative that we discipline ourselves, that we discipline our vessels. So working out at this time, taking not just at this time, implementing a workout routine, implementing a diet or a regimen that you can stick with, that's going to carry you out through the rest of your life. Like the way that I eat now, the way that I work, I mean, I could definitely work out and do a little bit more yoga, but I know I could see that in my future. Like I could see that it'll be more of a thing in my future. So, but we can all, stand to just do a little bit more, implement a little bit more, because this it's what's taking place is mind, body, and spirit. Because we are third dimensional beings, because you could feel, touch, taste, see, right? Because you have the five senses, you want to make sure that you take care of your body, because your body is what houses our physicality. Our body is what attaches us to this third dimension. You want to make sure that you're really, really, really in tune with your diet, that you're really in tune with exercise regimens, that you're allowing your blood circulation to flow, that you're allowing like your breath or your lung capacity to increase. You want to make sure that you're breathing properly, that you're breathing from your diaphragm. You want to make sure that you're stretching, that you're allowing your muscles to release tension, stress, and energy, because that's what's going to help as the energy. That's what's going to help as the energy of the planet shifts and transforms. Um, and this is what's going to help us combat against spiritual warfare, because we are on a spiritual war on this planet. It's ongoing, it's never ending, it's not going anywhere, and it's only going to be ramped up. And with all these talks of war potentially happening in the near future, I feel like that's only it's a physical representation of what's taking place on other realms. Things happen spiritually before they do physically. Brother Panic used to say this, and RIP to him because he passed away recently, but um, rest in power, yo. He used to say this in his early videos, and I'm pretty sure I still have it written on my phone. If you put your spirituality first, everything else works itself out. Every, if you put this your spirituality first, all your human problems, all your egoic problems, your finances, your clothes, your car, everything that you could worry about on a human level will work itself out as long as you put your spirituality first. And I think this is especially important moving forward because, like I keep saying, the energy of this planet is shifting. Things are not going to be the same. One thing I really want to highlight is celebrated figures or celebrated images, because these individuals have, stake on the world. These people help control what's going on and how the masses move. I mean, I'm not, but for the most part, majority of the world is ruled by celebrated images and ruled by political figures. And it's not going to be like that moving forward. We're going to have to reclaim our sovereignty. We're going to have to reclaim our autonomy. The only reason why the political figures and the celebrated images are highlighted, emphasized, and put on a pedestal the way they are is because this world is inverted and it's manipulating each and everybody to put materialism first. When you put materialism first, you lose pieces of your soul. It's something I tweeted about today. When this whole bit about selling your soul is not really like, oh, you sell your soul and then all of you is gone. No, it's losing pieces of yourself, the most vital pieces of yourself. And it can get to a point where your soul is lost. Because I used to watch QHHT videos. So those are the quantum healing hypnosis videos. So there was one video where I was watching, and the individual that was under the hypnosis, they were going from a life in between lives. So they went through one life and it was explained in the video, their life, their experience, etc. And as they were, their soul left their body in that life, they died, and their soul was moving on. You go back into these other realms, you go back, you connect to source, you heal, especially if you had like a traumatic death, you heal. Watch it, watch this. QHHT videos. Just look them up. But this is what I'm describing. But once the soul departs from the body, it goes to other realms. It goes to get healed if you had a traumatic death. Um, but this individual in particular, as their soul departed from their body, their soul was hijacked from other entities, other energies, spirits on other planes, and their soul was lost and was being used and manipulated. And I feel like it becomes easier for that to happen um, when you are giving away vital pieces of your soul here on earth. Because what people don't realize is everything that we do here is spiritual before it is physical. Everything that we do here is spiritual. Every interaction that you have is spiritual. um Everything that you do is spiritual on this planet. The way that you wake up, the way that you brush your teeth, what you use to brush your teeth with, how you eat, what you use to take a shower with, it's all spiritual. And a lot of it is being manipulated to deteriorate your body, because if they can deteriorate your body and your vessel, it'll be easier for them to deteriorate your soul and take a hold of your soul. Um, mm, so what we want to do at this time ultimately is really try to protect ourselves, protect our mind, body, and spirit. It's imperative that you have some type of spiritual routine. Again, with the winter energy, or us being in winter right now, the energy of the planet has slowed down in order to prepare us for what's to come. Because that Aries season, that spring, what does spring mean? It's a start, it's a new beginning, it's initiating. Aries is initiating new beginnings. So that spring energy is when we're going to see a lot of this taking place, where we're going to see a lot of the energetic shifts, a lot of the fall of political figures, of celebrated figures. We're going to see a lot of that shifting, and it'll be more power to the people, but not people as a collective, more power to the individual. So you have to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing individually to preserve your mind, body, and spirit in order for you to help the collective. If I'm not doing my routines and I literally woke up at 7:35 this morning, had my alarm and everything, and I cleaned my room. Like I said, I sprinkle salt everywhere to help remove negative energy. I went to the park. I spent an hour in the park praying, meditating, and walking. I made sure I ate. I had protein for breakfast. I had protein, I had vegetables, but I also had like some oatmeal. I had fruit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm making sure that I'm taking care of and nourishing myself on all levels. And this is what has provided me the space and the energy to even sit here and do this live and share this information with you guys. So until you take care of yourself as an individual, you will never be able to help the collective. And that's something, I always tell Aries placements, because they get a lot of slack, or or a lot of people like to say that Aries are selfish, and Aries placements are not selfish. They just understand that if they put themselves first, it will be easier for them to help everybody else. And this is where the energy of this planet is going, where we're all going to have to put ourselves first, prioritize our mind, body, and spirit, prioritize our healing, prioritize our routines. As far as like spiritual routines, I made sure I did my yoga, made sure I meditated, made sure I did some breath. I had a wonderful day, y'all. And I feel like it's because I was just making sure I knocked all these practices out. I didn't have like a specific time. I didn't have like, I got to do this right when I wake up. And nah, I just allowed myself to flow, but knew that I have to do these things in order to keep my vessel clean and clear, in order for me to stay in alignment with God's source energy, so that I can transmit these messages to help the collective. Um, so yeah. Yes, yes, yes. We are in an ongoing spiritual war. Ephesians 6, verse 13 says, because we do not fight against flesh and blood. We fight against invisible. I mean, don't quote me because I know I'm not saying this like all the way right. But we fight against invisible principalities, dark forces, things that we cannot see. We're not fighting against flesh. We're not fighting against blood. Um, and that's another point that I wanted to make as far as spiritual warfare, and just making sure that you're taking care of your vessel, making sure that you eat right, making sure that you're keeping up with spiritual routines, meditating, breath work, because that's what tends to the spirit. So it's not even like spiritual routines, but making sure that you have practices that tend to your body, making sure that you have practices that tend to your mind, and making sure that you have practices that tend to your spirit, your holy trinity, because that's what makes up all of you. When you do that, it's easier for you to combat spiritual warfare. What is spiritual warfare? Spiritual warfare is the distractions of this plane. Again, the celebrated images, the celebrated figures, the political figures, um, all of that is spiritual warfare, because what they're trying to do is distract you from your soul's mission and purpose on this plane. It's trying to distract you from why your soul even came to earth to begin with. We all came to earth with our own we all came to earth with our own vision, mission, and plan for our soul to evolve. So take your ego out of it. They have programmed you to think that you need to get married and have 2.5 kids and a dog and do all these things, you know what I'm saying? But that may not be what your soul needs to evolve. The more clean and clear you stay, away from distractions, away from people, places, and substances that take you away from your soul's essence and your soul's mission and purpose on this planet, the easier it is for you to align with why you are here. And that's what brings that peace that surpasses all understanding. That's what brings the just real internal fulfillment, because when you're aligned with your mission and your purpose, you are aligned with God's source energy. There's no way that you will that there's no way that you can be on your path and you won't feel fulfilled, or you won't feel peace, because you'll be aligned with God's. So you'll know that what you're doing. So even though you don't have cars, clothes, and all these material things that generally don't matter, right? Leave the world behind. Though you don't have all these material things that the world has convinced you to have, or convinced you that you need in order to be fulfilled, you'll have that real internal sense of fulfillment. So a lot of spiritual warfare is just the distractions of this earth. There's no reason you should be going to the club every weekend, or even like, every month, every week. Like there's no reason why you should be drinking and smoking. And this is something I have to tell myself. There's no reason that you should be drinking, smoking every single day of the week, or every single week to begin with. Why can't you go 3-4 days sober? Why can't you go 7 to 14 days sober? You know what I'm saying? What is it that you're running from? What is it that you're fighting against within yourself that makes you feel like you have to adopt all these other substances? You need to be around all these other people. You have to buy all these cars. You have to have all these shoes. You have to have all these things to feel fulfilled. What is it about you? What kind of excuse me. Was that the second time? Excuse me, y'all. What is it about you? What is it about your genetics, your trauma, your bloodline that makes you feel that you have to search outside of yourself for fulfillment? What can you do to heal those parts of yourself? What can you do to come to an understanding that, it is okay for me to be with myself, as myself, alone and sober, and just fully, like, oh, not even watching TV, not even eating soda, chips. It doesn't even have to be drinking, smoking. Like, why do we feel like we need these things? You understand? And I've been traveling the last few, it was the last week and a half, but as the tour, as the travel was ending, I was like, yo, if I could just leave here and go straight to my next destination and be out of this country, I would. Because I started to see how fucked up this world is, how fucked up this country is. But again, my ancestors are not from here. My ancestors are not from America. So I know that me being here is a part of my soul's mission and purpose to help raise the vibration of this place. I'm doing grid work in this country because this country needs it. This country is built on greed. This country is built on idol worship. This country is built on celebrated images and political figures. This country is built on deteriorating your spirit. This country is truly built on deteriorating your spirit. And when I started to recognize that, even today, I'm sitting fucking doing Instacart and I'm like all the rows and rows of chips and candy and just all this shit in the fucking grocery store. And it's like all of this is literally built to distract you from who you are. All of this is literally just trying to take you away from your soul's mission, your purpose, you know? So it's important that we recognize the distractions of this realm. We recognize the things that are trying to pull us away from our inner selves, and we take a stand to fight against it. Like they said, the revolution will not be televised. The revolution is internal. The revolution is inside. The more that you choose differently than what the world is pushing you towards, the more you're starting to revolt against um just all the negative energies and all the all of the other spirits and entities that are trying to infiltrate this realm and stop the healing and stop the ascension process. And it's also like you evolving. The more you revolt against what they're pushing on you, the more room and space you allow for your soul to evolve. So A lot of these lessons are still very much integrating, but it has highlighted for me spiritual warfare and my mission and my purpose on this plane to guide others out of darkness because I've been in darkness. I've experienced hell on this realm. I have. And I have gotten myself out of it. You know, I've overcome those karmic cycles that kept me imprisoned to myself. I've overcome those karmic cycles that have kept me stuck in my lower chakras, that have kept me stuck to this third dimension. So now I'm able to tap into these higher dimensions so I can share this information with y'all to get y'all to see and get y'all to see, to feel and get y'all to evolve and reach these higher dimensions with us because it's here, it's coming with the spiritual realm merging with the 3D realm. That's it's bringing heaven on earth, but you have to first see it and feel it in your mind, you know. And a lot of why we can't see and feel heaven on earth in our mind is because we're not overcoming karmic cycles, we're not overcoming compulsive behaviors, we're not overcoming distractions. We're easily distracted by people, we're easily distracted by men, we're easily distracted by women. Like I just was sitting with some friends yesterday, and she's sitting there telling me Usher got herpes, and this celebrity got herpes, and this celebrity got herpes, and I was like, yo, like it clicked for me like a few months ago, and I wish it clicked for me earlier. But like to stop lusting over people over the way they look. Why am I, you know, in the grocery store and I'm walking down the street and I see a fine nigga and I just like what the fuck is that? That's mind control. Why am I lusting over how somebody looks? I don't know if this person washes their ass. I don't know if they have some type of venereal disease, but because they look so fine, I can't help but stare. You know, my energy is being pulled towards that. That you have to find self-control, you have to find discipline in order to preserve your mind, body, and spirit. I said, the lessons are still very much integrating, but it has highlighted for me spiritual warfare and my mission and purpose on this plane to guide others out of darkness. You have to go through hell to experience heaven. You can't know freedom without imprisonment. That's the whole idea of duality and polarity and why we even find ourselves on this earth plane. We chose to come here. Many of us have had multiple lives here on earth already. Some of us have only had one or two lives here on earth, but a lot of us have been here time and time and time and time again, trying to overcome our lust, trying to overcome our addictions, trying to overcome, you know, our well, that's addiction to food, addiction to drugs, addiction to whatever. We've been coming back here time and time again, trying to overcome these things so our soul can evolve and experience heaven on earth. Because earth was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful heavenly planet. And because of our weakness, because of our weak spirits, we have allowed all these different energies to come here to infiltrate our home, right? And have made hell out of our heaven. And so, because of this, we are going through this hell now. We're experiencing hell now so that we can experience heaven. You can't know freedom without imprisonment. You have to be in prison. I went to jail before. I was on probation for years, having to go to whatever the fuck office monthly and pay and take drug tests. You know how it's kind of degrading for you to have to low-key be forced to pee in a cup. You know what I'm saying? That's imprisonment. Somebody is controlling you, right? But because I learned how to overcome. Look, y'all, my story is so crazy because I literally had a warrant out for my arrest, and I was like I went to probation once and I failed my drug test because I didn't know how to overcome my addictions at the time. And it was like, you know, you failed, we're taking you to jail. I was like, what if I leave? So if you leave, we'll put a warrant out for you. I said, motherfucker, I'll take my chances. And I left. And I did not look back. And I had a warrant out for 7 years until I got my mind, body, and spirit right. Until I got myself together, like along that 7 years. And it's funny because 7 is a karmic number, but along that 7 years, that's when I started to get into yoga. That's when I had my spiritual awakening. I got on my journey and I've been consistent ever since. And because of that, I was teaching yoga at a studio, met this lady. I'm still cool with her to this day. And she was like, I work with the probation office. I'll help you. I didn't have to go back to jail. If you have a warrant out, that means that if at any time, if you get pulled over or whatever, they find you, they're taking you to jail. And I potentially had about 2 years because that's how much probation I had left. I potentially would have been sitting in jail for 2 years if they found me or if they picked me up with this warrant out. You know what I'm saying? But by the grace of God, by my grace, because I took control over myself, because I took control of my mind, body, and spirit, nothing happened to me over those 7 years. Even when I got pulled over, they didn't like whoever I was with, or at the time I probably got pulled over like once or twice, but they never ran my name or nothing. I was always good to go. And eventually I met this woman teaching yoga. I met her. She was like, I'll help you. I'll work with them. I didn't have to go back to jail. I didn't have to take another drug test. I didn't have to do shit. And they dropped everything. So you must experience the full spectrum, both extremes of this realm to know where to stand. Because of my that little stint with imprisonment and having being controlled in that way, I understand what I want to live for. I understand where I want to stand. I understand who I want to be and how I want to live my life. I said some lesson. Okay, yeah. So I was like trying to come up with some notes. But some lessons I want to speak on and highlight in regards to spiritual warfare. Again, removing distractions, people, places, substances, energy war, vibrational war. That's what it's all about. A lot of the people, places, and things that we're fighting against or that distract us, what they're doing is just pulling you down dimensionally, ultimately. You have those friends that you go around and y'all don't do nothing, or y'all just gossip, and the vibration or the energy of the hangout is just so low. Not to say that they're bad friends or anything, but it's just you can't talk about higher concepts. You can't move to higher realms with this person. You can't talk about spirituality. You can't talk about meditation, or if you do, it's only for a split second. It's spontaneous. But most I don't want to say most people, but I feel like we all have people in our lives that take us to higher realms and that keep us stagnant, keep us stuck, keep us trapped in karmic cycles, or keep us trapped vibrationally to lower realms. When you're watching TV, are you watching something that's going to help you ascend? Are you watching something that is, if you're watching something that's funny, ultimately laughter is of a higher vibration. But if you're watching like violence, murder, killing, fucking Law and Order. Law and Order is fucking 23 seasons plus of rape, literally. I like, cause I used to watch it a lot as a kid, cause it's on TV. I think it was like a couple months ago. I'm like trying to watch a streaming service. I'm like, yo, let me pull up Law and Order, and me just reading the episode descriptions, every single one is about rape. I mean, it's called Special Victims Unit, but every single episode is about rape. And I didn't. Well, I was like, bro, I cannot put this into my mind, body, and spirit. I can't watch this because it's going to drag me down dimensionally. It's going to make me feel negatively. It's going to make me feel angry. It's going to make me feel sad. It's not going to elicit higher vibrations within me. So just being aware of that, the substances that you use. Sometimes you can use certain substances, drugs, alcohol, whatever. Not all drugs, not all alcohol. But sometimes you can use certain substances to take you to higher places vibrationally. But if it's compulsive, if it isn't compulsive, or if it is an addiction, more often than not, these things are pulling you down vibrationally. They're creating holes in your auric field, and they're allowing different entities to come through to leech on, to attach to your mind, body, and spirit, and further pull you down dimensionally, keep you trapped in karmic cycles, keep you in misalignment with your mind, body, and spirit, and misalignment with God's source energy. It says, what can you do to cultivate and sustain a high vibration? Because it's not all about high vibration. Again, you have to go through hell to experience heaven. You can't know freedom without imprisonment. That's duality and polarity. Something I tweeted today. You must be exposed to darkness so that you are reminded why we choose to stand in the light, you know? So it's not all about being in a high vibration all the time and meditating all the time and just feeling good and feeling lovely and stuff like that. But what can you do to cultivate and sustain a high vibration? Because naturally, the things of this world are going to pull you down dimensionally. Naturally, like I get in my car and the way these people be driving, I start cussing and yelling and all kinds of shit. And I had to remind myself, like, why am I going here? Like, why am I allowing myself to be so angry? Like, I'm alive. Like, let me just, drive slower. Let me, like, like, why am I just allowing myself to go there? Or do I want to stay there? Do I want to stay in that vibration? Do I want to stay in that anger or that pissed offness because that nigga just cut me off? You know what I'm saying? So, what can you do to cultivate and sustain a high vibration? Um, and ultimately a high vibration is just a state of peace and a state of understanding. So regardless if you experience things that are negative or things that are low vibrational, how can you have peace and understanding in that moment? What spiritual routines, what practices are you doing? Are you implementing in your daily life that are helping you sustain peace and helping you sustain understanding? Because you're not always going to feel good, you're not always going to be in a high vibration, but what practices are you doing? Are you reading your devotion? Are you like, if you don't read devotion, you're not into that, are you learning about anything spiritually? Are you reading affirmations? Are you listening to sound healing music? Are you meditating? Are you doing breath work? Because you might meditate or do some breath work and somebody piss you off right before or right after. But just because you took that time out to do that practice, it's going to help you sustain a state of peace and understanding throughout all situations. Lastly, I put worry versus faith are always at war. This is something I heard yesterday. My friend just put me onto Queen Cup Tarot here on YouTube, and my friend, hold on. Everybody drink some water. Spring water. But low key, I filled this up in my fridge. I can't lie. But worry versus faith are always at war. I was watching Queen Cup Tarot yesterday, and that's something she said that stuck out with me. And I probably go back and watch this video or watch that video so I could just fully hone into that. She said worry and faith are always at war with one another. If you're worried about something, then you don't have faith. Point blank, period. If you're worried about how your bills are going to get paid, and I've been there and I still be there. And now it's just like as the days progress, as the weeks progress, and I make sure that I'm in alignment with my purpose, I'll make sure that I'm obedient to my creator and I'm doing what God has put me on this earth to do. I could have more faith and less worry because I know that I'm moving in alignment with source energy. So I don't have to worry about how my bills are going to get paid. I don't have to worry about how things are going to work out because I know that I'm aligning myself with my path, my mission, my purpose. I have faith in what I'm doing. I have faith in who I am. I have faith in why I'm here. So I don't have to worry, and it's hard, but I want y'all to just remember that worry and faith are always at war with one another. You cannot have faith and still be worrying. You cannot have faith and still be worrying. You cannot be worrying and have faith. You cannot be worrying about how things are going to work out and then say, you can't have no half-ass faith. It has to be all or nothing. So you have to choose one or the other. It says, how can your experiences benefit others? Again, I was just traveling and I'm like trying to create blog posts, trying to share information about just the information, the energy that was downloaded through me in my travels to help benefit other people, to help other people see other sides of life or just see through my perception or my lens, because that's what we do when we watch TV, when we read books. What we're doing is just seeing through other people's perception or their lens of reality. And ultimately, it helps other people to step outside of themselves and to widen and expand their view. That'll help somebody to have or to receive more wisdom, to receive more knowledge, just by expanding your worldview, expanding your perception, is definitely beneficial to all people everywhere. Again, weak, empty vessels, dissociation. Oftentimes, when we use substances like drugs and alcohol, or even sometimes through food, it serves as a way for us to dissociate from our vessels. So it disconnects the etheric body from the physical body. And because of this, now your vessel is weak, it is empty, and it can easily be infiltrated. So you want to make sure that you're doing practices that help you stay in your body, that help you stay grounded, that help you stay connected to who you are on a soul level and why you are on this plane. Again, we must be exposed to darkness to be reminded why we choose to stand in the light. We must be exposed to darkness to be reminded why we choose to stand in the light. I am very much satisfied with this video and the information that I shared today. And if you are, please share this with other people. Ultimately, I put this in God's hands to spread the message out. I kept trying to do this on Instagram because I feel like just because I have more engagement on Instagram that people are actually watching me, and that's not true. YouTube still has a very organic algorithm, and I know that anybody, especially if you've watched to this point, because we about 46 minutes in, that you truly have been led here. You want this information, you care to learn, and you care to help yourself grow and evolve, because that's what I'm here to do: help guide people out of darkness and help other people grow and evolve, because ultimately that's what I'm doing for myself. So if you like this, like the video, share, subscribe, all those wonderful things. I will try. This is me just talking to myself at this point. I will try to record a video every day. I didn't know this one was going to be as long, but the downloads were downloading. The energy was moving. And here we are. Y'all have a wonderful night, morning, afternoon, wherever you're at. It's about 11 p.m. where I'm at. And I'm about to go to sleep. Good night.